little late,
little late,
little
off the
late.
back of the rim, like you overshot it just by a bit.
Overshot. It's kind of like the playoffs. You're all excited, and then it's not that great.
Yep. You can see we've got the energy of a late March, Charlotte Hornets versus San Antonio Spurs game on our hands right here.
Ouch. Hey,
Yep.
hey, thank you for referencing the Spurs. Given they are properly tanking, which is impacting my playoff prospects. My playoff prospects were not great, to be fair. But they are being impacted by the Tankomatic. Uh,
Tankomatic.
it's
Though they don't really even have to tank. They're just that bad.
yeah, they really don't. I mean, like they aren't they basically guaranteed one of the
Yeah,
whatever maximum percentages at this point?
there's such a delta between the bottom four, the Detroit, Houston, San Antonio, Charlotte, and like ever. It's like a 20 game delta between them and
Yeah,
everybody else.
yeah. Is it the bottom four of the same percentage or very close to the same percentage for the
Somewhat
lottery?
close.
Yeah,
They have a fairly close percentage.
yeah. So it is impacting Zach Collins for my week. Playoffs. We obviously the fans would know that we were not there last week. We did not introduce the first round
Not
of the playoffs. Not there. Um, although pretty chalky. The only non-chalk outcome was Mike losing, so we did have to say goodbye to Mike.
did not have that one in my bracket.
No, a lot of brackets busted this past
Yep.
week. A lot of brackets busted. He succumbed to, I think, Anthony Edwards getting hurt.
Yep.
Franz Wagner not playing apparently. I mean, he may have switched that roster up. Oh yeah, Hardaway played, and then a Giannis explosion, and Devin Booker also going nuts, to lead to a good week for fake it till you make it. So, although I think their records are basically the same. So we had to say bye to Mikey, from the top of the bracket,
Good work,
unfortunately.
Mikey. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming out.
Good luck
Uh,
to your Orlando Magic in their tanking. Although
we
they're not really tanking,
Yeah, they're trying, but they're bad.
but they won tonight.
Over who?
Washington.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
that's
who's
also
also
a bubble
trying but
team.
bad.
Yep.
It's also a fun note that just for the faction watchers out there, it's basically Joe and two of Joe's friends and me left. So we're getting washed out by the Joe contingent of the
Well,
league.
not the Joe contingent.
And I am going to very much be washed away by the tide this week,
Yeah, you
given
have quite the game's disadvantage.
yeah, it's not great. Some of that was Collins had a 4 game week and didn't play the first game. I don't even know he had two back-to-backs, and he basically is only playing one game of the back-to-backs, it seems like, in the Tankatron. So
Well,
um,
that's not even a Tankatron thing. That's just a him keep him healthy-atron
no,
thing.
no, 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 no. No. Well, hold on. I gotta show you. This is funny. Oh, is they not show it? Oh, hold on. I gotta pull it up. I don't like how on Yahoo on the web the headline is different than the phone. Have you noticed that in the
Mhm.
mobile app there's actually
Oh, did you
headlines?
catch the like snarky guy who wrote all the Kawhi Leonard headlines every time he didn't play?
So much snark. It says Zach Collins, parentheses, thank you very much. Out
Oh
Tuesday
God.
versus New Orleans.
Man, he must have been proud of that. Thinks he's real. These guys, whoever writes these thinks they're real cute.
Yes, yes, they do. So I'm properly down at least six, if not more games. Joe deferred from a 40 game week. He could have a 40 game week because like I think including his bench, 11 of 10 people have 4 game weeks because he clearly sold his soul to the devil for fantasy excellence this season. Uh, we will crown him champion, I'm sure, in
Well,
a
it
couple
just
weeks.
seems that the devil is holding up its end of the bargain.
Yeah, yeah, very strongly.
So I hopefully he didn't give away too much in that deal. I don't know how many first round picks and swaps and young players were included.
We shall see. The other side, more interesting matchup. Fake it till you make it might continue their romp in the underdog positioning. Although, was Giannis not playing? Oh, a couple games this week. Just hasn't played yet. That'll be obviously be the turn of that match. and then
And Shay.
Shay and McCall.
Play.
We'll come to them in a moment, and Buddy. But 10 feet off Beal and Joe basically are your statistically favorites. If we look at the end of the season roto, Joe unfortunately did win, unsurprisingly. Beal came in second. I am apparently like overperforming. I am self-designating my team and myself as the Greg Popovich of the league. Overperforming a poor roster since since I'm in eighth in the roto.
Or were you just getting lucky and winning games when you shouldn't have?
I'm not gonna accept that outcome as true. You may think whatever you want. I'm gonna go with good GMing to work around adversity.
Look at
Is
number 4 on your list.
yes. So what's going on with you?
That's a bad luck rate ranking right there.
Yeah, it is. You did
Like,
win three categories, like, which is kind of ridiculous that you won three categories and had the record you did. But you were also last in three categories. So that
yeah, but I was third in another, fifth in another. I was solid. I had my things, but it just didn't work. I got bad
oh
breaks,
no.
bad
Oh,
injury breaks, and you blew up your roto.
oh, it's because it's just date based. Kind of move away from that. So that's two. So per the rules, for per the output of the league in terms of awards, Joe is looking for the sweep. So
God.
he's top of the table, won the roto. If he gets the belt, he gets a sweep, which is first time in the league that would happen. So that is a momentous occasion we must identify per the bylaws. But I don't know how many people will be in attendance for his belt ceremony.
I think what we should do is probably have him on, but then just not show up.
He can do his own.
Give monologue.
He can model. I'll arrange it.
Give him the mic. Let him go. Unfiltered.
Unfiltered Joe. 40 minutes of Unfiltered Joe. That's a good podcast name, Unfiltered Joe.
Nah, it's too Rogan-esque.
Ooh, touche, touche, touche. Yeah, that's correct. Um, I assume maybe next week we'll do our yearly awards. Or I guess 2 weeks would be appropriate. Next week, we might be recovering from our own trip. So we'll see what happens. But this week we also wanted to look at. So obviously we know kind of the state of affairs here. One thing that Yahoo does that's fun is notes the more was it the percentage of the top 500 player. I guess they rate players by some
No,
whatever.
top 500 teams.
Teams,
Like the
sorry.
number, the players that play on the majority of those top teams.
Uh, and what I was going for is I'm not sure if those teams are like highest scoring per their math or like, they're the gold, platinum ranked team owner type things. Either way. You in past years it's been a fun list because there's been some fun rogues thrown in there, unlikely candidates. This year's a little different. Outside of maybe the Jalen Williams number one. There's not a whole lot here that wasn't coming out of the draft. Although,
Or at
uh,
least coming out of like the first 2 months of the season. A lot of the
yes,
stuff got established pretty early on.
yes, that's true. What the discerning fan will know is two teams we just mentioned, well represented in the top 10, with Joe, uh, repping Jalen Williams, Lowry, and Nick Claxton, who we've talked about all season. And then if you go down a little farther, including Mr. Sabonis and hot Kyle Anderson, who's been very
Hot
strong lately.
Kyle.
Hot Kyle Anderson. And then Beal with Shea and Buddy Hield, who I love, and I was sad I didn't draft. I didn't get to draft. And then Mikal
Definitely a team
Bridges.
that guy.
Hot Bridges. We got Hot Kyle, Hot Bridges.
I think you need
Uh,
to be more original in your nicknames.
that's not my forte. I think you know this. That's nicknames at all.
I
Not my
mean,
jam.
Brooklyn Bridges was right there for you.
Bruh. Man, that's good.
It's right there.
It stopped me for a second because yeah, it's there. And see, this is why This is why you're on the show. This is why you're part of the team
Why whenever
because
you make up a name for things, I'm kind of like, well,
I'm not,
not.
I'm an editor. I'm an editor.
Yep,
That's
I'm a creator. I can create.
exactly. That's why we're a team. That's why we work because you can't put me in the corner and just like say come up with something. I'll be like, ah. But if you give me like 10 things, then I can do a better thing.
And
That's
you
that.
can filter my weird shit. That helps too.
Yes, exactly. This is why it works. Um,
All right.
I,
Who
who
who stands out to you here? Like what do you think is the kind of maybe like your most interesting name and why?
most interesting name? I think both is super interesting. Mostly because like I wouldn't have thought he's had that good a season because we haven't paid attention to him. We have because he's been banished, not banished. He's been living on Mikey's team, and so we kind of I feel like we undersell the Magic players and maybe
Because of
focus
the
on
hyperbole that Mikey frames
yes.
them with.
But I mean, look at these lines. These are
They're
damn
solid.
good lines.
A lot of
Uh,
over 50%, a lot of, get some good steal
if
numbers.
if he scored more, like looks the only thing here is like his inconsistent scoring total. If he was like averaging 20, I mean, he'd be like top 20, 30, 40 probably.
I mean, he
Uh,
probably is averaging 20 based on numbers, those numbers right there. Like, there's a lot of high 20s and a lot of high teens.
I
Like,
wonder.
looks like 14 a game is his average on there.
I wonder what he is in like the last recently because that's a total. He's probably yeah. So he's like 45. Yeah. So in the last couple weeks he's
Turn
yeah.
it
So in the
up.
last month he's 30. So that's pretty damn good because he didn't play for a long time. So and I imagine like what this ranking often does is like a value delta. So like a lot of people probably either drafted him late or picked him up if they weren't in leagues with Mike.
Yeah.
Probably picked him up
One of the
mid-season.
several Orlando Magic fans.
Yeah, so so that I think only because we haven't talked about him, but he's having those are good damn numbers. Other surprising, I think Jalen Williams is probably in the same boat of like just hella value for coming on late. So props to Joe for picking him up. I think he picked up back in January, so it's not like it was a early season move. And then yeah, it's kind of boring. Collins is here mostly just because there's an interesting list that changes a lot during the season. So like he's been hot the last couple months. So I think like it's ending the season and the playoffs are happening. So like this is like filtering down that. Yeah, otherwise it's boring to me.
I think one thing that's interesting here is I see like there's some actual real life stuff here. Like,
Ooh, real life stuff.
I don't know, like people who like there's some pretty obvious stories here. Like there's a reason that he's on there because he's been so good in the last, and he was really good early in the season too. Like he showed when Phoenix was down a few guys that he could handle the offensive load a little bit. And I think that, probably made Brooklyn confident. That might have been one of the reasons that trade happened because that Brooklyn did it is because like they probably saw his early season splits as the man when everyone was hurt and was like, oh, okay, well, this guy can carry us for a while.
Hmm. And another person that's like you most people probably drafted him mid late rounds.
I
And
think he
so
was third
like
round.
for our league, because
Yeah.
of his defensive stats, he gets bumped up. But I bet like, in this ranking, like a lot of people there's a big value jump from where they probably drafted him. Um, Maybe. I don't know.
All
But
right.
yes, I agree.
Here's the question about Bridges. What team is he on a year from now? Think he's still in Brooklyn or you think they trade him?
I have no idea. Like I don't know what Brooklyn's gonna I don't know like do they have picks? Like like they I mean like they have a lot of like they have what guys 2.5 through 8 on their team right now?
They are with the Durant trade and the Harden trade, they are now net positive in picks.
Yeah,
They don't
like
have their own though, so they can't really tank. They're all Phoenix and Philly and some of these other late picks.
like they definitely have like spots 3 through 9 on a roster. Maybe
Yeah.
2.5 if you think Bridges could be the second best player, and he's kind of probably borderline. But like they're not gonna draft number one. So like I think they gotta go get some guys, right? They gotta go find the refuge. I don't know who's gonna be selling in the off season. Um, so yeah, maybe they just like try to really work the draft as best they can and get some spunky young guys, and then next season try to be better. But like yeah, like they're too good. They're too good to tank by
Well,
a
they
long
can't
way.
tank. They don't have their own picks to tank.
But yeah, I mean they're too good. Sorry, it doesn't make sense to blow it up. Like they don't not the people aren't good enough to like get a lot of value to blow it up, and they're like too good to be bad. So I think they gotta go get some better people. Like
Yeah, I
use
think
what they
they're
have.
stuck in this kind of weird 40 something win morass for a while. Like they could I guess they could trade all those picks and him and get themselves stars, but then they'd be basically in the same place they were, where they were one injury away or one crazy guy away from the whole thing falling apart.
Yeah, and I mean, some of those teams, right? Like, how good are they going to be for a while? Like, Phoenix is going to be interesting. Like, how many seasons is Phoenix good?
However many seasons Durant and Paul have left on them.
Exactly. And I
Is
think
that
that's like, and
no, I
that
think
is
I think
anywhere
they're
from 0 to 3.
right. So I don't what is it? I think it was 4 drafts worth of stuff that they got. So like, that fourth draft, maybe that's the one.
I don't know that if I'm the Nets, like, I feel like you start building and like build a good team that's spunky.
And
Like they were
wait.
so good. We've talked about them before of like their spunky team was so good to watch and as a good product and like yeah, you might not win the title, but like that's the best option and like just focus on hitting good quality draft picks with whatever you get
Mm-hmm.
and uh just be that team that's always there ready to deal for like the big player that hits free agency that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Because like they just need a scorer, right? I mean like at any position basically because they can sort of move everybody else around. That's
They've got
basically what
nice
they need.
defensive wings
Yeah. So they need like a point guard. Dame Lillard to the Knicks,
to the Nets
Nets,
for what?
whatever. I'm just saying it'd be fun. I think he'd be really
Yeah,
good
I
on that
mean,
team.
they wouldn't have anything left. It would just be the same thing. It would be Dame and a bunch of scrubs because like they'd have to trade everything they had for them. So they
That's
so their draft situation is they by the time 26 rolls around, they have all their stuff back.
yeah, it's too far.
They have
Hey, you
three
won't take Ben Simmons in that trade? You don't want
they
Ben
have
Simmons for
three
Dame?
picks. They have 3 picks in the draft this year.
Ooh.
They have
Three
their own pick. So I
first
guess
rounders, all rounds.
what?
First round or all rounds?
They have 3 first round picks.
Ooh.
So they could do something with that. Like they could package those and do something with it.
What teams are those picks?
They have their own, and they have Phoenix's, and they have the worst of Houston or Philly. So Philly.
So it's gonna be like
So it's gonna have like three between
three
like
mid round
17
picks.
and 25.
Man, like I think you keep the picks this year, and then because like I don't know who's gonna be out there,
They've also proven themselves to be a pretty good drafting team. Like
and,
they have drafted very well the last few years when they've had picks.
and like they got a lot of old folks that are gonna be leaving, like at the bottom of the roster. Like they're gonna have plenty of time. Like admit you're gonna have like a spunky season next season, and lean into it and get the young guys ready, and then go find a big player when they're out there. I think that's got to be their move. So what else? So what else besides real life stories you got here?
One guy I wanted to look at, D'Angelo Russell.
I was a little surprised by this existence, given that he's not actually good.
See, okay. Here's the thing with him. Everyone, everyone has just written him off in like a way that is very confusing to me. Like it's fun to shit on him now, I feel like everyone likes doing it because he's like an inefficient what have you, But if you look at it, he's having the best shooting season of his life. Like, if you look at his splits for the year, he now is on a team where all he's gonna do is get wide open threes forever.
He is playing a lot better. Like, I mean, I think that's probably why he's on this list is if you have him for the past 3 weeks when he's
If you
playing
have
the
him, he's coming
Lakers,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's caught fire for sure.
Yeah, because he's just getting open looks. Um, and he will continue to get. I mean, like he's a real caliber NBA player, which is exactly what the Lakers haven't had for years. Like the fact that they turned like one pick into like four NBA rotation players is not fair. Like it's ridiculous and dumb, and it annoys me.
Which trade is this referring to?
The like they got Beasley, Vanderbilt, and him all for basically that one whatever 27 pick
Oh yeah. Well, that's
because
because
Minnesota so desperately wanted to get off of D'Lo and took Conley instead, which is not a bad idea for them. They needed like an adult who knew how to do like grown up basketball things, which is kind of their problem. And he knows how to play with Gobert. So like I get it, but
yeah,
like
the common thread there is Minnesota's dumb.
yeah, Minnesota's dumb, but also like Utah gave away quite a bit for very little. Having gotten so much for, Gobert and Mitchell, like two very valuable rotation players for one pick 4 years from now, that is not unprotected. It seems like kind of a bad deal to me. But
I think
anyway, I feel like D'Lo in a world in which we celebrate Tyler Hero and Jordan Poole and Simons and all of these like smallish guards who like are good offensive players but don't play any defense. Like maybe he's just a little older and like people were less accepting of that archetype as they are now.
I think it's a hype thing, right? Like I think he always had hype.
Yeah.
He came in as a hyped big player, like Tyler Hero, not a hyped player. He's just,
Oh, he's a wildly hyped player now.
now, but like he didn't come in
Yeah.
that way. He's built the cred. He's Gym Rat.
Yeah.
Uh, other nonsense. And like not like I think Simons is like hyped in Portland, but the league is not like hot for Simons. So I think Russell, similar to like a Ball of the brothers Ball and other things, like came in with high hopes and has never performed to them to the people's expectations.
Yeah, I mean, everyone thought, yeah, like he definitely suffered from his own hype, but like he was very good on those Brooklyn teams. Like you need to put him in the right place.
Sure.
And Minnesota isn't the right place for anyone. Let's be
No,
honest.
no, that is the problem.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, who else? You got anyone else that you're
a lot of
really
Knicks on here all of a sudden, quickly.
well, the Knicks are hot. Like you want to talk about some heat. Like they are good. Brunson is like a low key all NBA candidate this year.
I love this record though, like the winning streak, 3 losses, 3 wins, like they're spurty.
Yep.
Uh, yeah,
Spurdy Knicks.
Brunson's been very good. I don't know, not like we're getting down in the bottom, but even here, like there's not many. Definitely last season we had more garbage men. We've talked many times. There are no garbage men. There's
There's been less like a lot of this list is like similar to what we would have done had we looked at this in January.
yeah, exactly.
I think
Like
that's and I think that's part of what has worked well for Joe and his like good season all year is that the great players haven't fluctuated a lot. Like he had the great players early, they stayed healthy, remained the great players, and not a whole lot has really changed in like those last 2.5 months.
the one thing that's most fun to me is the fact that I have like nobody on this list. Like
Island, you're
Zach
like
Collins.
you're the island of misfit fantasy players for sure. You always are though. Like you just
No, past seasons I was on this list because I picked up the hot garbage man at the end of the season for
yeah, that's
sure.
the same thing though.
Fair,
Like
fair.
you're not making playoffs because you're like drafting the best players. You're like you're like toiling in the waiver wire, like looking. You're not looking for the garbage man. You're like physically sorting through the garbage yourself, and like trying to locate like someone's old Walkman that you can repair and turn it into a useful instrument.
I love this analogy. Because Collins is exactly that, because he's just hot right now. I actually had Tyus Jones and dropped him because Jaw came back, but that's why he's up
No, he
here.
hasn't
Oh,
come back yet.
oh shit, I should have kept him.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, that's just yesterday. I had these games. So good. I thought he was back today. Doesn't matter. And then down here somewhere is like Fred Van Vliet.
Yeah, you see no Raptors on this list,
No.
basically.
I'm
That's
not
your thing.
surprised.
Oh, there's OG in there at the bottom, but like
Yes.
Raptors were not overrepresented in playoff teams.
No.
So that's the pitfall of your situation.
Womp
Also,
womp.
the Raptors make no sense, and
No.
I could talk about the Raptors for an hour every single week and how little sense they make.
They don't make any sense. Uh any other thoughts or people who aren't on this list, people you thought should be on this list? I know you have some takes of people who should be on this list, but aren't.
People who should be on the list that aren't.
Or
You're talking
just
about
or just people
my
who are
Giannis take. Is
underperforming.
that
I
what you're
know we
talking
had some
about?
Giannis takes that you had. I don't know if you wanted to expound about
Yeah, you
Giannis or
kind of
did you?
statted me out of them.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. I pre-gamed out of that take. I didn't
Uh,
realize.
my, I mean, I think that he is an interesting like illustration of the weirdness of this league. Because like he's freaking Giannis. He's the MVP in a lot of people's eyes.
Giannis.
Like he's a top three player in the league. He is averaging a career high. He has like a number of 40-20 games this season. And yet he's like in the 50s for his rank because of the efficiency.
Yep, 50 and
Because of the
then
missed free throws, the turnovers.
hot lately.
He's coming up though. He's
Yeah,
getting
hot
hot.
lately.
Yeah,
In the average for sure.
as we
So
go
two
into the
things.
stretch.
The two big things that hurt him, yeah, his efficiency's down this season, and then his lack of games played comparatively, which is always then tough because your efficiency sticks a little harder if you're counting than your counting stats.
Mhm.
So that's hurting him. We fun because basketball reference not sponsored, but we use them all the time.
Yes.
He's the highest turnover season of his career, lowest stock season
Since his rookie year.
since his rookie
No,
year,
his whole career. His rookie
whole
year.
career. So he's the
That's
weakest on
interesting.
defense. I think that's because like Lopez is playing all season, like,
Yeah.
and he's
And
been
maybe he's
amazing.
doing the smart thing and taking it a little easier as he's getting somewhat older. Like he's not going as all out anymore on
Starting to pivot to the old man game. Uh,
probably
and
good. I mean, learn how to shoot three. That'd probably be a good start.
learn how to shoot free throw. Free throws also near his career low percentage wise. And then where's his field goal percentage? Field goal percentage is also on the mid to low end of his
Which is
career.
hilarious because it's 59%. Like that's a bad year.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's for two. Yeah, two. So like 54 total.
Or
The
55,
worst.
yeah.
It's the
Sorry.
worst
59, I
in
was thinking it
four
was 2 points.
years. Yeah. So I like that though. Like I don't know this and like he wouldn't on what kills his rankings is because he takes so many free throws and is so bad at them.
Yeah.
Like that's the like you can
If
take a lot of
you
field goals and be bad and it's like a wash. Like, you can shoot 45 and be a wash on field goal percentage and he's still shoot 55. So he's still net positive for sure in field goal percentage. But you cannot shoot 12 plus free throws a game and shoot 65% and not
he's
blow it out.
he's someone that if you drafted him in round one, you kind of have to build a specific team around him in
Yes.
order to succeed. Like you probably just punt the efficiency, right? And
Where did I put his team? There it is. Let's see. Did this team punt on efficiency?
that's a good question.
Yes. Eh, yes. Eh, yeah, that Mobley,
Definitely. Well,
Capella.
Capella.
Yeah, kinda.
I
So
mean,
like,
there's some. I think.
uh,
Well, look at the roto. That's what you want to look at.
Let's see. See what they lost more. So they won field goal percentage. Yeah, lost free throw percentage basically every week. But won field goal percentage. It's actually kind of
One
fun.
turnovers most weeks.
That's pretty good. That's hard
So
to
we went
do.
the other way.
Lost steals, kind
One
of even,
blocks, even
even
on rebounds.
rebounds.
So middle of the road, really.
Yeah.
Like
So he did a good job of balancing. Did a good in the end.
balance.
Did a good job of balancing.
Yep.
Good job. Fake it till you make it.
Well, got him this far.
Yeah, I think,
I
and
believe Beal and Fake It Till You Make It were our like two hot tier team, like high tier teams, right? When we ranked everyone.
yeah, I think so. Especially because no injuries here, and everybody doing good. For sure. I think Beal was definitely the hottest of the two.
Well, Beal finished second.
Yeah. Okongwu also kind of hitting it. He has both. Oh, this is amazing. This is some solid stacking. He's got Capella and Okongwu on the
And
same
it
team.
still works.
And it still works, which makes no sense, which means Atlanta is another broken team that doesn't make sense
If you
on top of the
owned,
Raptors.
however, if you owned Duran and Wiseman right now, you'd be fine, even though they're on the same team. Like it, I think that only works with like a prolific scoring backcourt and like two centers that basically split the game in half.
Yeah, yeah, like, and they play the exact same role, and like the
Yeah.
team is big enough to
So
do
you
that.
double
Yeah,
up on the stats, and it's like each guy gets 12 points and 9 rebounds a game on high field goal percentage. And then out of those two, you've got yourself, 30 and 20 every night with really high efficiency.
fair.
Can we talk about Wiseman for a second?
Go on.
It's hilarious how, like, I mean, it's probably all garbage stats. I haven't watched a second of Detroit, but like, that is exactly what they did that perfectly. Like, they didn't want to pay Sadiq Bey, so they traded him. I mean, I don't know if they'll want to pay Wiseman either, but like, they traded him for a much higher upside guy. And like, that's exactly what you need to do as a tanking team, even if it's a crowded position. I just thought that was a really good move by Detroit to like just take a flyer on a, you know, what was he, the number one pick or number two pick? Like,
Yeah,
why
number
not
one.
give it a shot? You have nothing to play for. Like, if he's an absolute stud, then you've hit jackpot, and if he's not, you just move on.
Like, not that and obviously disgruntled, obviously like not amicable situation where they're from. Like I feel like Markkinen is very similar where it didn't work and like you just put him on a different team, on a team that actually cares, and like obviously nobody, like his output this year is crazy, but like you know that wasn't going to happen on the Bulls. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't
Can
going
we
to do
talk
that.
about Golden State's player development lately?
The
It,
lack of it, or
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
like, that was their thing. They grew everybody internally. Like, that was the dynasty. They developed all of their people, and now they can't develop anybody.
I think one of two things to me is broken. One, either the drive is gone because the old guys are like, whatever, I'll just put up 50 today. This is dumb. And Draymond punches people. Or two, there's a proper funk in the locker room
I
with these
wonder if
old
there is
guys.
like a feud between the youngs and the olds a little bit.
I think
Like,
so.
and I also just think the dual timeline thing doesn't work. Like,
I,
it
I think Clay, I bet it's Clay. I think Clay is maybe the thing that is interesting in terms of like it's not like he's been a world beater this season.
he's
And
been pretty damn good.
he's
Like,
been he's been good. And
he's been
I'm just
on
curious.
offense like 90% of himself.
And I was like just curious if like stuff like that, and like the fact that Looney kept starting over a Weissman or over some other people, like if that bothers people, because like it's not like, again, not like Looney's a world beater, and then like now you can say like, oh, Weissman goes to Detroit and puts up double doubles every night,
I mean, so
like
did Looney though.
not usually.
Oh yeah,
Is that
he
new this
has
season?
so many like 15 rebound games.
Oh well, maybe I just don't watch the games. Anyway,
Looney's good, but like that's the thing. Like, what is your goal? Like, you have James Wiseman, you probably need to play him. Like, you can't you can't do the dual. I mean, like Portland does the same thing. They also have a dual timeline team, and it horrifically doesn't work. Like it only works if in a world in which like those contracts don't expire and you don't have to pay them or figure out how much you want to pay them when you don't really know what they're doing.
I
And
look forward to them not making the playoffs
oh, they
because
probably still will.
and they're gonna lose in the first round because they have to play more road games.
If they could win any like there's been a lot of talk about this already. Why do you think it's just not caring?
I think it's not. I think it's insane. Like
Yeah.
and
No,
like
like you think it's just them not caring, or what do you think it is?
I
Luck?
don't. It does not. It the 538 had a big old breakdown, and it like basically comes down to one set of stats, which is like opponent 3-point percentage swings 8% a game on the road versus home, which is banana town. Like it goes from 32% to 40%, which is so huge.
Do they just not play defense on the road then?
It's
I
what,
mean, home teams make more threes. That is just like that
but
is
the
a fundamental fact of basketball. You make more
it's
threes at
it's
home.
like a 2% swing is the
Yeah.
average in the league. So it's both dimensions. Like teams are shooting 4% better than they should at home against the Warriors, but also 4% worse on the road. Like that's what the wacky thing is. It's like out of band in both directions. Because they said they're also taking the same amount of shots and from the same places. Like the distribution of like catch and shoots and corner threes are all the same. It's like, but literally they're just shooting worse on the road and shooting dramatically better at home.
I
So like,
can't say I've watched enough Warriors games to have any kind of theory on this.
yeah,
It's I mean that like the most obvious explanation is they're just not playing as hard on defense.
but like that to me that would show up in the type of shot versus like at home opponents would have more like open corner threes when they're
Yeah.
not like so like nearness is not a stat.
No, yeah, it is.
Maybe
Yeah,
it is. I
contested threes. They have multiple stats for that. It's like shots with someone 2 feet away, shots with someone
they didn't
4.
they didn't they didn't say that they didn't have that stat in that breakdown. So maybe they don't have it yet or something. But like that like I could buy into some concept that like harder playing means more contested shots, but it doesn't jibe. Like it just seems like a very wacky quirk. But the thing is though, like the quirk is not like the quirk is not that they're lucky to that they're unlucky to lose on the road. The quirk is that they're lucky to win at home just as much, right?
Well,
Like
when yeah,
that's
like
the
their home
quirk.
stats are basically that of like a 55 win team, right?
Yeah,
Or a 60 win team. And then their road stats are basically that of a tank team,
yes.
which,
And so
averages out to being 500.
yeah, it's I don't know. I have no other I Monstars, I don't know. They gotta travel. They don't like
Old
traveling.
guys who just don't care anymore. Honestly, I think that's it.
It definitely fits the general vibe narrative of everybody being unhappy. So that seems as good as anything. Is that seems like a fine place to stop since we've broken down everything else and on Warrior Sadness, or you have one more take in you. You have one more take.
I mean, I have many more takes, but we can save those for a later date.
Save the takes for later. Well, all right then. This is good. So next week championships, we already know what's gonna happen. So like that's boring. Uh so we can either shoot well the fans can either we'll decide. We might do awards a week early. We'll see because we'll know we'll know it's there. Or we'll have to wait because who knows. But until then, you have yourself a fine night and stew on your takes since you have so many that we haven't shared yet. We'll see.
Well, I don't know if we haven't shared them yet. I just have them.
Just perpetual takes. I
Yes.
see.